Hey, aloha everybody. Welcome to the Barn Bars channel. My name is Damien and I'm here today to share with you my techniques for making a tiki hut. Now, every D&D table needs a tiki hut, but this one's special. It's a tiki hut I dropped at Jeff Con, the final mace, back in 2022, which has now become Mythicon. Amazing time, amazing adventure, amazing players, and probably most important for me is that it inspired the story of Mapu Mapu, a legend indeed. So stick around, learn how to make your tiki hut, and learn about the tales, the trials, and tribulations of the greatest voyager of all time, Mapu Mapu. Jeff Con was a one-time tabletop gaming convention held in remembrance of Jeff Smith and the Mace convention. Mace started in High Point, North Carolina in 1977 and moved to Charlotte in 2012, but unfortunately ended with Jeff Smith's untimely death early in 2022. And so Mythicon is taking off where Mace left off, and you can find them in Charlotte, North Carolina, second week in November. Great convention, low-key, lots of great content providers and creatives and RPG enthusiasts in general. So yeah, for certain, get down there to Mythicon, as it's called now, and check it out. Great convention. I had a great time. In the meantime, grab yourself a nice cold frosty beverage and prepare yourself for the legendary tale of Mapu Mapu, the greatest voyager there ever was.
In the vast stretch of the dark ocean, where water meets the horizon and islands whisper of legends, there rules a tale of Mapu Mapu, the shaman of the waves. Mapu Mapu is not just a man, but a beacon of spiritual power. His tattoos reflected the mysteries of the cosmos, and they danced upon his skin, narrating tales from ancient times. As a priest of unparalleled strength, he was both revered and sought after, guiding his people in rituals, prophecies, and the dance of taboo. During a stormy expedition, Mapu Mapu's canoe met with danger on a shark-infested reef. As angry waves threatened to consume the canoe, Mapu Mapu's endurable spirit shone bright like a winter star on the evening sky. In the face of death, he gave his life, ensuring his companion's safety amidst the raging sea, leaving behind an enduring tale of sacrifice and a tale of leadership. With Mapu Mapu's spirit leading the way, they journeyed to realms uncharted, uncovering truths that transcended treasures and worldly desires. Each path they treaded, every wave they sailed, Mapu Mapu's spirit was with them, guiding, protecting, and revealing the magic of the ancestors. To this day, voyagers speak with reverence about the shaman Tiki, the ancient navigator. Mapu Mapu's legacy is a tale of courage, a tale of sacrifice, and a tale of enlightenment. It is a tale that continues to fill the hearts of those who dare to journey beyond the horizon. I praise to you, Mapu Mapu, Voyager Chief.
Alright gang, so now you're well versed in the legends of Mapu Mapu. Let's get down to the brass tacks on how to build a tiki hut. But first, a big shout out to my peeps over at the old Rune Hammer Shield Wall. Mucho mahalo, Hank and Fernail and Obis-Faedux for your musical contributions in this video. It means the world to have your mana as part of this. Outriders for life, yo. We'll see you at the table in the fall. And additionally, Alex Alvarez and Xavier, good old Mr. X, members of the council, and Baron Durat, the dungeon masterpiece himself. All three of you guys were members of this game and contributed to memories I'll never forget. And of course, the origins of legends. So once again, mahalo nui loa. So with that said, let's get down to the brass tacks of building a tiki hut. Shoots! Alright gang, so for this build I used a filled cone and 3-strand 1-inch diameter rope. Couple of fun facts: filled cones are used around the world for both soccer and football practice, and ropes can be made by either twisting them or braiding them with 3 to as many as 8 or more strands. Another fun fact is that this particular rope is made out of what's called manila hemp. It's a plant that's part of the banana family and grows prolifically in the Philippines. And I thought this natural fibered rope would look really good in trying to replicate your classic Tiki Hut rooftop. So I cut the rope into 3-inch sections and then took each section and then unwound those down into the respective strands, and then broke each strand down into its respective yarns. Yarns are just a nautical way of saying fibers of the rope, some sailor vernacular for you, and then just directly glued it with my hot gun onto the field cone. Now, I won't lie, this was a bit tedious, and I did endure several hot glue gun burns, but it looked pretty cool. And after I trimmed it up, it was what I wanted, and it was time to move on to the next step, which was building the superstructure. And for the superstructure, I knew I was going to use some old bricks I had, so it was going to be a stone building. And the lid that I had for my plastic container kind of worked as a perfect guide. Once again, that armature idea, something to build upon, where I was able to line up my bricks, glue them end to end, and then just kind of squeegee a bunch of glue into the little cracks and crevices in between the bricks, and then let it dry. And then once it dried, I went ahead and just took my sanding block, sanded them nice and smooth, nice and flat, and then just kept building up the layers until I thought it was the appropriate height, or something that would work at least for the scale of miniatures I had. However, once I'd finished the bricking of this, I realized it was a little too short. The proportions were off, so I drew upon some of my knowledge of Pacific Island architecture. As an archaeologist, I'm familiar with the variation that exists with these structures, and decided to use some sticks I had. The sticks I have are an actual Polynesian plant called how, Hibiscus tiliaceae, which I had used for a previous project making kites, but I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and use these sticks because they're Polynesian, Pacific Island sticks, and they look great. Just kind of made my own little stain with brown paint and water, and once they had took the stain, I used a wire brush to give them a little bit of grain, so just kind of lightly brushing across it to give it some scratches, and then I could return back to the superstructure. Being a classic foam project, you gotta black bomb it and get it ready for paint. The platform, or ahu as it's known in the Austronesian language, I wanted to make specifically in a way that had a vault, an opening, or a space in the center for batteries, because I wanted to have a nice big fireplace, or a fire pit I should say, in the center, and then two LED lit tikis in the front. And so creating this platform was pretty simple. Just had a bunch of different pieces of pink foam to kind of cobble together, and then using this other thin foam that I had from I couldn't even tell you what project, just kind of created that central area, giving it a little bit of texture here, and then ultimately I had to put it on a piece of cardboard to give it a little bit of strength, because this is a playable area, and although I wanted it vaulted, that little space in between, I knew I was going to be putting figures and other things that had weight on this piece of foam, so I backed it up with cardboard, went ahead and centered it on the platform that I had made, and then after giving it texture with my piece of concrete there, took a little bit of a shortcut, I won't lie. This part here, I'm just laying down a bunch of PVA glue and then sprinkling coarse sand on top, for a walking surface. And once all that was dry, just a matter of kind of cleaning it up. I like to use a toothbrush to clean up any of the old sand that may have stuck to the surface. And of course, this all gets the black bomb as well, getting ready for some dry brush paint. But time to move on to the electronics. And for this project, I used 12 volt, 20 milliamp LED, flickering LED lights, orange colored, with the resistor built in. And so you can buy these online. They're pretty common, pretty cheap, and I highly recommend it. Having the resistor in there allows you to basically construct safely. You don't have to worry about burning out lights or causing problems. Anyhow, I wanted to create 2 tiki torches using these LED lights and this fancy knotwork that I just showed you. This is called the French Senate, and I used it on a previous build called the Heart of Azar Elk, just because it looks super fancy, something that has a lot of detail. And it's a simple clove hitch, just one hitch after another in the same direction. And if you keep doing one hitch after another, keeping the same tension, you will end up with a spiral pattern that looks pretty darn cool. And I'm using this sail thread, which is not natural, but synthetic fiber, so you can burn it and it'll melt like plastic, which keeps it from basically unraveling. And the intent is to come up with a spiral pattern that looks like something that's carved. And we all know about Maori or Pacific Island carvings. They can be quite intricate, very elaborate, and so I thought this would be a good way to achieve that with my torches, or the tiki torch holders. Here I'm just doing a bit of dry brushing, classic. Start with the black, go with a dark gray, light gray, and then almost a white dry brush to achieve kind of a stone look. My posts are set and ready to go, and the leftover wood that I had from the hibiscus branches that I used, I intended to use for the fire pit. So here you can see I'm setting up for both the 2 torches in the front and the fire pit itself. Cool little trick I have here for protecting things that you don't want to paint. Just add this blue tack. Here I got them on the LED lights so they don't get dry brushed when I start to do that with my French Senate, my fancy rope work. Starting with brown and then some beiges and then a light kind of a beige. Gives it a wood color. And once the painting's done, then I start to make the flames. Now this is your classic DM Scotty flame trick, where you use your glue gun to create flames by slowly introducing the glue and kind of pulling it into tendrils of flame using gravity to your advantage. So I made a couple of those, tested the batteries, and then switched to the fire pit. All of the wood pieces that I had that I put into this little rosette of fire pit, I just kind of coated with Aleene's clear glue in order to solidify it. And then here, what's going on is these are just channels, little canals that I'm creating for the wires that will feed the LED lights. So I'm using 3 LEDs for the fire pit, and once I've set those with glue, I then use the same technique I use for the torches, that DM Scotty flame technique, just a little bit bigger, a little bit broader. Setting the tiki torches in there at the front, with the steps leading up. And then once that glue is kind of hardened up, I'm ready to go ahead and start soldering my wires together. And here I'm just doing a basic in-series soldering technique, and I will say that Acolox soldering gun is unreal. It's a game changer. Would highly recommend it. Doing a little bit of detail painting. This is what I call my Flintstone painting. I use like colors that remind me of Flintstone cereal. Kind of earthy tones. Just hitting a few bricks here and there. Less is more, as always with this type of thing. But wanted to break it up a little bit with the color scheme. Also, I felt that the entryway needed something more, a little bit more support, and something that looked, I don't know, maybe a little bit more hunter-gatherish. And this is my solution. I had some old dinosaur bones that I planned for another build, and just kind of cut out one of these long bones, painted it up, and glued it into the doorway. Alright, so this is all bonus, guys. I thought this would be cool. This is not Tiki Hut specific, but part of the adventure, I wanted to have sharks. And I had built these before as sand sharks, using them in a desert environment. And it worked out really cool. You know, sharks that were swimming around in the sand, coming out of nowhere, causing intense damage, yada, yada, yada. I wanted to do the same thing, but in the water. And I'd come across these clear bases online on Amazon. And I actually had never seen these before. I thought they were pretty cool. And I figured, you know, if I cut them into the right shapes like I had done with my sand sharks, they would look great coming out of the water. And so the idea here is just coming up with cool little angles that look like, you know, they're in the moment of an attack. You know, and I should say these sharks are, you know, just something I bought online as well. You know, something off of Amazon. You can get cheap sharks anywhere. They come and go, but they're, you know, size matters, right? So you don't want to get them too big, too small. These were perfect for like megafauna, perfect for like mega big ass sharks, and then glued to those bases. Man, it looks really cool. Now, a couple other little bonus things I did was with a 3D printer, printed out some Polynesian themed tikis that I used for both hero coins and little threats. And then those same clear bases, I came up with loot markers. And this is kind of the last little barn trick that I can pass on in this video. But in terms of loot, you know, there's lots of different things you can use, like crates and boxes and gold, you know, piles and whatnot. And a coil of rope I thought was pretty cool, because you can get string, like small 3-strand string, and just use glue and just coil it up in the glue, let it dry, and voila, you got some loot. You know, some of these things are 3D printed, some I don't know, you know, bits and bobbles from here and there, but nonetheless, I thought they were pretty cool little additions. So with that, I will leave you with these glory shots. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll see you on the old internet. Shoots. Mapu Mapu, your spirit sails on, providing us with wisdom even though you are gone. I said, Mapu Mapu, the bravest at sea, in the front of your canoe, carved like a tiki, a true survivor who facing his storm. You're welcome by my fire, any day to keep warm. I said, Mapu Mapu, have you heard the call? Outrider warrior gonna outlive us all. I said, Mapu Mapu,